Hello, my name is Haley Wager,
And my name is Taryn Bueller.
and this is our story connecting ECS 200 course content to our community based service learning experience.
This semester, we had the opportunity to grow as educators while working at the Regina Immigrant Women's Center.
The Regina Immigrant Women's Center is a nonprofit organization which provides programming for the education, integration, enrichment, and empowerment of immigrant and refugee women and their families.
We volunteered in the education programs. Within that program, there are drop-in English conversation classes, Stage 1 and Stage 2 English as a second language training classes, and basic and advanced computer classes.
Our role at the Regina Immigrant Women's Center was to facilitate drop in English conversation classes. These classes are beneficial for the students because education influences all facets of our lives. One thing that I learned was how culture and society impacts the classroom. Throughout the volunteer experience, I noticed that almost everything I taught the English as an additional language or EAL learners has to do with Western society. For example, at the beginning of October, we talked about Thanksgiving, and at the end of October, the focus was on Halloween. Although the students come to class to learn English, it is interesting that the content they learn enforces Western culture and societal values. The conversation classes are used as a tool of both integration and acculturation. Not to say that this is a bad thing, but it is interesting to me that even the informal conversation classes perpetuate the cultural norms of Western society. This relates to Bronfenbrenner's bioecological model. The bioecological model is a theory that describes the nested social and cultural contexts that shape development. Every person develops within a microsystem inside a mesosystem, embedded in an exosystem, all of which are a part of the macrosystem. The macrosystem is the larger society, its values, laws, conventions, and traditions. While facilitating the conversation classes, I noticed the impact of the macrosystem because everything we taught related to our society.
One thing I learned is that teaching material through diverse learning mechanisms such as speaking, writing, reading, and listening, the students were gathering knowledge in the most successful way. The importance of using different approaches were revealed when only one strategy was exercised at a time. For example, at times when students were only listening the information was not being comprehended in the most efficient way. By having students write, speak, and read the material as well, it allows them to understand and comprehend the information to a better extent. Especially when learning a second language, I found that the students needed to hear the pronunciation of words clearly, see the word written down, and then say the word. Without all these steps, the students had a hard time making connections. Sometimes, further steps need to be taken. This was shown when, as a class, we were talking about food at Thanksgiving. Pumpkin pie was on the vocabulary list, but the students were not understanding what a pie was until Haley found a picture online and right away everyone understood. It felt awesome as a teacher to have students experience a moment of realization and learning. As a result of the different mechanisms used, I saw the teaching philosophy as progressivism, which is a student-centered philosophy emphasizing problem solving while capitalizing on student curiosity and creative self-expression. Through the practice of this philosophy, my own perception of how to teach was reinforced, as I have now seen the benefits of using such a philosophy. Instead of having a completely structured class, we allowed the students to point to the lessons in different directions. This allowed the students to become excited as they were choosing different things to talk about within the guidelines we set.
Something that I found challenging was the nature of the drop in classes because they resulted in a different student body each week. It was important to be able to adapt lessons and teaching strategies. As well, in the class, some of the students were at an intermediate level of English while others were just beginning to learn English. It was challenging to find the zone of proximal development. We didn't want to make the lesson too difficult to confuse the students, yet we wanted to make sure that the lessons were not too easy so that they were not bored.
Another challenge I found was to form strong relationships with my students since many of them only came a couple of times. However, by forming strong relationships with other volunteers, it helped promote a healthy learning environment where many relationships can be fostered.
Overall, our experience at the Regina Immigrant Women's Center impacted our growth as educators in a positive way.
It opened up our eyes to the diversity that will be prevalent in our future classrooms.
We learned how to adapt lessons, meet the needs of our students, how to build relationships with people of various cultures, and how to create a safe learning environment for everyone.
We like how we were able to apply what we learned in the classroom to the real world.